Okay, the February 29th, 2012 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ansello? Here. Mr. Baroth? Here. Mr. Colby? Here. Mr. Haney? Here. Chairman Holland?
Here.
Mr. Rocco? Here. Mr. Wilcox is excused.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing no one, I'll go on to the approval of minutes. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the January 25th, 2012 minutes of the Environment and Public Works Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business.
Referral 12-74, authorize a contract with...
Moved by Legislator Colby, seconded by Legislator Rocco. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the Chair of the Administration, I have a couple questions. And one is, how was the firm, the Passero Associates, chosen for this project?
Through the chair, the airport currently has 2 term contractors. Passero was selected because they designed the previous 2 North Ramp projects, so it was determined that they were the best for this project.
Thank you. And you mentioned the airport had 2 term contractors. Which one is the other one?
Through the chair, the other one is Clough Harbor and Associates.
I'm sorry, could you say that one more time, please?
Yes, Clough Harbor and Associates.
Thank you. And through the Chair of the Administration, one final question. In regards to the testing, was mentioned about some of the de-icing fluid discharge being tested as well. I assume that was a wet testing, which I looked up, and actually it's whole effluent toxicity testing. Did that occur?
Through the chair, I do not have that information available with me.
Would it be possible for you to let me know, and then specifically what the results, if that would be, if it did in fact occur? I believe it's an industry standard. I believe.
Through the chair, yes, I will let you know.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? It's passed.
Referral 12-78, increase and improvement of facilities.
Moved by Legislator Rocco, seconded by Legislator Colby. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed.
Referral 12-80, increase and improvement.
Moved by Legislator Ansello, seconded by Legislator Colby. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passed.
Referral 12-82, increase in...
Moved by Legislator Colby, seconded by Legislator Rocco. Any discussion? Legislator Haney.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. What is it that will, I mean, the sea-soaked tunnels aren't that old. What are they now, about 25 years old, maybe 30 years old? What are we going to do, what are we going to be doing to them?
Through the chair, there are segments of the sea-soaked tunnel system, and you are correct, they began construction approximately 30 years ago of the sea-soaked tunnel system. There are some segments of the tunnel system where there has been buildup of grit and other debris, and we need a solution to remove that material. We will also take the opportunity just to do what I would consider rehabilitation due to age. Overall, the system is in very good working condition. We do inspect it regularly, but there are segments that we will inspect more closely and make necessary repairs and rehabilitation.
Through the chair, what gets into the tunnels? I mean, is it just dirt? I mean, there are no wide open openings. They're all graded, etc.
Through the chair, it's primarily it's stormwater primarily that flows into tunnels, as you know, during an overflow scenario. So it is combined with sanitary flow, but primarily storm flow. Within that storm flow is anything that's on the street, primarily grit, any other debris that's collecting, even leaves, whatever can get through the grate into the system. Typically it would flow to Van Laer, but there are areas where we have had deposits, and we need to resolve those.
How do you actually remove the grit? I mean, you're not going to be building drop shafts again, are you, all over town?
Through the chair, in addition to that, too, with the grit, there is hydrogen sulfide production too as well. So by removing that grit, we'll remove any potential source of hydrogen sulfide, as well as improve hydraulics. Obviously, those are the two primary benefits. But we will engineer a solution within the existing structure, utilizing the drop shafts and work within the tunnels themselves. Obviously, they're large enough diameter that we can get in necessary equipment to remove that material efficiently and safely.
Can you shut the tunnels so that if in the midst of a project there was suddenly a 100-year rainstorm, you wouldn't lose?
Through the chair, we would certainly have to monitor weather conditions very carefully in a circumstance like that, and obviously stage work and schedule work in that manner, and be able to get out of the tunnels as necessary.
Yeah. Just as a suggestion, there's probably only 2 of us in the room that were here when the sea soap tunnels were built. It was a fascinating project. You might want to think about doing a presentation at some time, Mr. Chairman, to the committee on the sea soap tunnels. It was an absolutely incredible undertaking. I mean, total price tag was, what, like $700 or $800 million, as I recall.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Yeah.
Through the chair, we'd be happy to do a presentation. In fact, we conduct tours as well, and actually get into the tunnels and drive a vehicle right up into them. And this contract will also provide us the opportunity of engineering services available to us as we need to make any other future repairs or rehabilitative type services to the system as needed going forward.
Thank you.
Legislator Baroff.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, I did have one question. In the third paragraph of the referral, it talks about the project will allow a number of things, including enhancements to appurtenant, or however you say that, communication and data transmission. What is that referring to?
Through the chair, appurtenances and other types of equipment we may have in the tunnels. We rely on fiber communications to control and monitor levels within the system, to control gates, control valves.
Okay.
So there's a lot of control structures there, or systems in there that we would replace as repair as necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Referral 12-84, increase and improvement of facilities in the...
Moved by Legislator Colby, seconded by Legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Item carries.
Referral 12-86, increase and improvement.
Moved by Legislator. Make up your mind, gentlemen. All 3 are waving here. Legislator Ansello, seconded by Legislator Colby. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Referral 12-88, increase and improvement of facilities in the
Okay, now I have nobody. Moved by Legislator Racco, seconded by Legislator Colby. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Referral 12-90, increase and improvement of facilities.
Moved by Legislator Ansello, seconded by Legislator Colby. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroff.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, I just had a question about the increase in average fees on this one, because it was relatively high at $7.99. I'm curious, how many ratepayers are there in the Northwest District? Approximately.
Through the chair, approximately 58,000.
58,000. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item passes.
Referral 12-92, increase and improvement of
Moved by
facilities.
legislator Rocco, seconded by legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion? Legislator Haney.
92.
Legislator Baroff.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I had a question regarding a term that was used. In the fourth paragraph, it talks about there's going to be a capital improvement charge, well, at least a fee of $66.50 per unit for the capital improvement charge. My question is, what is a unit?
Through the chair, a unit can be defined as a residential unit, or if it's a commercial unit or industrial, we have a formula that would convert that based on water consumption for a proportionate capital share.
Okay. And it would be, the price per unit would vary depending upon the classification then, correct?
Through the chair, that's generally correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Referral 12-94, increase and improvement of facilities.
Moved by legislator Colby, seconded by legislator Rocco. Is there any discussion? Legislator Haney.
I apologize, Mr. Chairman. I lost track of the items here. Could I back up and ask a question on item 92?
Certainly.
How is, through the chair, how is this going to work? The Northwest Quadrant District doesn't operate currently any collection facilities. It's a transmission and treatment project. How is there going to be a sub-district to the Northwest District?
Through the chair, that is correct. We have an existing zone of assessment in the area known as Kodak Park South, where we manage and maintain and operate the local collection system within that small area.
Is that what we took over a couple of years ago?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay.
And we're extending the zone of assessment just to the north in the area known as Eastman Business Park M for Mount Reed.
Okay. And all this territory is in the town of Greece?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Through the chair, would it have made, since the Northwest District doesn't routinely operate collection districts, would it have made any more sense to add it to either the Gates, Chili, Ogden, or the city district, which do operate collection districts?
Through the chair, I know we looked at this very carefully when we did Kodak Park South, and because some flow goes to Rochester, and the flow goes to Rochester and Kodak Park South, and in the north, some goes to Northwest, some goes to Rochester. It has a specific level of service that's really different than any of the four districts. So the capital rate is different, the O&M rate is different, and instead of going through the administrative mechanisms of extending or expanding the districts in that area, we decided to keep it within its existing district. And we believe it's seamless. I mean, we can back charge any services that are provided, out of our labor line for support or materials that are required to maintain that system. So administratively, we felt it was more efficient to keep it within its district and extend the existing zone of assessment.
Now, the transmitter says that Kodak is responsible for making the expenditures to bring this system up to the standards of the district. How will Kodak's bankruptcy affect that?
Through the chair, obviously that's been a point of discussion with our contacts at Kodak. That money is budgeted in their 2012 budget. They intend to begin that work in April and have approval to expend that money to make those improvements.
Will they have to get approval of the bankruptcy referee to do that?
My understanding is that they have that authority already to do that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Excuse me, and that they do not need any further approvals, that is in place, and they can advance that work. We would not take dedication until those improvements were made.
And final question, have there been, for the portion of Kodak Park which is in the city, I mean, they're also selling off that property, and they've sold a lot, they've leased a lot. Have they approached at all with the prospect of having the county take over the sewage collection and disposal system in sort of traditional Kodak Park?
Through the chair, they have, we've engaged in that dialogue. They are not under any regulatory pressure to dedicate that portion of Kodak Park. There's not a permit variance issue, which there currently is now in the area that we're discussing as part of this referral. Johnson & Johnson is there. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has extended their permit variance because, for all intents and purposes, it's beginning to function like a municipal sewer. We have more than one owner on the system. That variance has been extended through the end of this year. So that's really the driver behind this, for Kodak to sell additional properties or lease additional properties. They need to get out from underneath that permit variance.
So as Kodak sells and leases properties that are in the city, they remain on the disposal plant that's down at the Hanford Landing Flats?
Through the chair, I'm not aware of any particular parcels that you've sold to any other industrial applications or commercial enterprises at this point.
They've sold several properties on Westridge Road.
Through the chair, they may have become direct customers of the district already, but I know there's no regulatory drivers that create an issue with their discharge permits. Their treatment plant, as you know, is an industrial plant, so it's not treating sanitary sewage. That's all going to Van Leer.
Okay. So people like that bought the facilities like Allen and Corey and that, like on West Ridge Road, when they bought the Kodak properties, the systems were switched off of the Kodak system and onto, so instead of going out the back door in the Kodak system, they went out the front door into Ridge Road, into the city system?
Through the chair, they would become direct customers of Pure Waters, and presumably there's a direct connection into our system for that particular parcel.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, I'd like to remind the committee members that we are discussing now 120094. Is there any further discussion on that item? There being none, all those in favor? Opposed? Item passes.
Referral 12-96, increase and improvement of facilities.
Moved by Legislator Colby, seconded by Legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I only have one question that regards the Central Gates pump station that's in line for the, quote, major mechanical, electrical, and structural improvements. And my question is the pump station operating appropriately now at full capacity, or is this just simple preventative maintenance in the sum of, $2 million?
Through the chair, this is an upgrade to the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. It is functioning and providing the service that it's designed to provide, but due to age and obsolescence, we have been upgrading pump stations over the past decade, and this is one that we would bring up to our current standards.
Thank you. And then as a follow-up, through the chair of the administration, will that enhancement include like greater capacity, or in cases of emergency, it can do more? Or, what sort of upgrades are we talking about?
Through the chair, we will upgrade backup generation capabilities, communications capabilities, the electrical infrastructure, the interior aspects of lighting and safety. We will evaluate flows, and pumps obviously will be replaced, so we would upgrade those to match the current flow conditions.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Referral 12-100, consent to an assignment and modification.
Moved by Legislator Colby, seconded by Legislator Rackow. Is there any discussion? Legislator Haney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is this building within the security perimeter at the airport?
Through the chair, this building is on the outside of the airfield.
Okay.
It does have a direct access to the airfield, but that is not included in this lease.
So is that access to the airfield going to be sealed?
Yes, through the chair, yes, it is.
Okay. What is Westover Car Rental going to use the building for?
Through the chair, Westover Car Rental, Westover is operating as Thrifty Car Rental, and they're going to use this facility as their maintenance facility.
For maintenance of the automobiles?
Through the chair, that is correct.
And finally, through you, Mr. Chairman, is this the car rental agency that there was some dispute a few months ago when the last available in-terminal counter space was being leased? Is this the entity that won that contest?
Through the chair, this was one of the 7 proposers for that RFP, and they were the new entrant to the airport concession.
Yes. And Westover Car Rental is a Buffalo operation, as I recall?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Legislator Barras.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, so does the Westover Car Rental Company have an on-site presence currently?
Through the chair, yes, they do.
Thank you. Through the administration, through the chair to the administration, the initial lease was for a period of 30 years with 2 possible extensions. When was this initial lease begun, and when is it likely to expect to expire?
The initial, through the chair, the initial 30-year period is up April of 2016.
2016. And then through the chair to the administration, then at that point in time, the option would still be in place for the new firm.
Through the chair, that is correct.
Thank you. I noticed also there was a mention of a change in the square footage of the premises to approximately 50,600 square feet. Through the chair to the administration, is that an increase or a decrease in the square footage?
Through the chair, that is a decrease in the square footage.
And through the chair to the administration, is that considered significant? Is it not? Is it?
Through the chair, that is not considered significant, and it was to eliminate their access to the secure area or the airfield.
Thank you. And my final question is, were there any other modifications to the lease that are not mentioned here?
Through the chair, the only other significant modification would be that the United States Postal Service has no further obligation under this lease.
Okay. Thank you.
Legislator Haney.
Just one additional question, Mr. Chairman. This building was originally constructed for the Postal Service to operate its airmail services. And apparently they don't use the building anymore. How do they currently process their airmail, or is there no such thing anymore as airmail?
Through the chair, it's my understanding that the United States Postal Service contracts that out, and I believe Federal Express does most of that business for the post office.
Who does?
Federal Express.
Really? That tells you something.
Okay, is there any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item passes. This is being the end of the items on today's agenda. Is there any unfinished business to come before the committee? There being none, the February 29th, 2012 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting will be March 28th, 2012 at 5 p.m.